right, Renegades. I know y'all have been getting on me about getting to this. I'm like a month late. I'm going to be a month late for a few things. I'm trying to catch up at least with the main artists, Ren included. So I apologize. Literally like 15, 20 of you have asked me, where's the video? Where's the video? So today we're going to react to Token and Ren's collab. What does your love look like? Since I'm so late, I'm not going to react to just the song. There's a video out. I'm just going to react to the video. I'm not going to double dip on it, right? The video's out. The song is in the video. I'm just going to do the video. So from what I've been reading and what some of my friends have told me, that this is a really heavy song. I mean, I expect nothing less from Ren, right? I don't know much about Token. I do know that he's an MC, a rapper, right? But I don't know much about his chops or anything like that. So I'm excited to see kind of a new artist here. I do see here, like up next on my YouTube when I have this open, is that Nox actually had Token on with him while he reacted to it, which is super cool. So as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to watch that. I want to get into this. More Ren, some new Ren, which is awesome. Before I get started, though, please make sure that you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell on my channel. Helps the channel out a lot. Make sure you go to Token Hip Hop's YouTube channel, subscribe to his channel, like, subscribe, always support the original artists on the channel. And the last thing, I do have a Patreon, is the best way to support me. YouTube is locking down on a lot of copyright stuff right now. So a lot of the stuff that is getting copyrighted, I'm putting on my Patreon for free. But there's also a lot of cool exclusive content on there that I think you guys will love. The best way to support me, it's about a cup of coffee a month. Lots of cool stuff there. TV show reactions, movie reactions, extended interviews, backstage interviews and stuff for artists that I don't usually put on YouTube is on there. So really excited about that. All right, without further ado, here we go. Ren and Token, what does your love look like? I don't know if I'm emotionally ready, right? We'll find out, I guess.
I'm not right for you, but I'm just what I should be. You try to change me, I try to change you. We never change, do we? What does your love look like? 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 As much as I do want to love you, I feel like we're speaking two different languages. Your house had the gate and mine had instigated. So that's the environment we feel safer in. You thought it was crazy how long that it took me to tell you I love you. Like that was the weirdest. I only heard Dad say I love you with Mom in the room when he went back to singing his lyrics. So how could you blame?
All right. Let's go back. Before I say anything, let's go back because I'm rusty, guys. I'm trying to pay attention to everything. Let's go back and let's listen to the lyrics first. We are the products of what we see.
You, but I'm just what I should be. You try to change me, I try to change you. We never change, do we? What does your love look like? 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 As much as I do want to love you, I feel like we're speaking two different languages. Your house had the gate and mine had instigated. So that's the environment we feel safer in. You thought it was crazy how long that it took me to tell you I love you. Like that was the weirdest. I only heard Dad say I love you with Mom in the room when he went back to singing his lyrics. So how could you blame me? Cause you always choose to. You always choose to. You wanna know where I'll be at all the time, but that's not what I'm used to. Not what I'm used to. You knew where your dad was at work or he's home when he...
It's a very common thing, unfortunately, right? Father figures in men's lives being either not present emotionally or literally physically not present, right? I think that we forget that our upbringing, right, kind of shapes who we are. It doesn't kind of, it shapes who we are. We go by what we see, which is literally, it says at the beginning, we are the product of what we see. But he's talking about his dad never really showing his mom emotion, right? He's not used to showing emotion because he never saw that in his home life. And then also somebody wanting to know where you're at and caring for you is also weird because he didn't have that at home, right?
He went back to singing his lyrics, so how could you blame me? Cause you always choose to. You always choose to. You wanna know where I'll be at all the time, but that's not what I'm used to. Not what I'm used to. You knew where your dad was at work or he's home when he's taking the load off. Taking the load off. I didn't know where until 1:24 the day I got that phone call. And I let the phone drop. I'm trying to be my best to be a gentleman. I'm trying to learn, I never had the chance. I still look to my manager, but he gon' teach me how to be a rapper before a good man. I grew up afraid to find a letter on mama's dresser telling us goodbye. I'm used to it all, so you don't gotta hold back and cry. But I gotta tell you why I'm not right for you, but I'm just what I should be. You try to change me, I try to change you. We never change, do we? What does your love look like? What does your love look like? What does your love look like? What does your love look like?
All right, that's the hook, aka chorus. I want to go back because there's a lot of interesting and deep stuff.
Phone drop. I'm trying to be my best to be a gentleman. I'm trying to learn, I never had the chance. I still look to my manager, but he gon' teach me how to be a rapper before a good man.
I still look to my manager for guidance, right? The only guidance he's had in his life that actually is looking out for him in a way is his manager, right? But his manager's not there to be a life coach. The manager's there to be a business coach, right? How he's going to run his hip hop business and getting him this deal or this interview and all that stuff, right? It has nothing to do with being a man per se, right? Yeah, it's crazy, man. When you don't have anybody to go to, you look to anybody sometimes, and sometimes you look in the wrong spot. Glad that he has self-awareness to know that the manager's not going to help me be a man, right? He's going to help me with my business. He's going to help me be a rapper, but he's not going to help me be a man.
I grew up afraid to find a letter on mama's dresser telling us goodbye. I'm used to it all, so you don't gotta hold back and cry. But I gotta tell you why I'm not right for you, but I'm just what I should be.
By the way, I love his flow, man.
I tried to change you, we never changed, do we? What does your love look like?
You got the intensity that an MC or the rapper is supposed to have. There's a lot of monotone rappers out there that I just don't vibe with. That's a whole thing. It's a whole niche. I personally like when you got intensity in what you're saying, right? He's going after it. He's confident in his rapping, right? That's the main thing I want to see out of somebody who raps. So far, so good.
What does your love look like? What does your love look like? What does your love look like?
I'm not right for you, but I won't get up and leave. Cause I hate the pain that is colour my veins, that is present in solitary. What does your love look like? Does it look black and white? Is it your kryptonite? Do all your demons get louder at night and the voices get softened when we're intertwined? I've been going to therapy lately, cause the cause and effect made me hate thee. The way that I feel when the loving gets real, cause I just wanna run and escape thee. Pressure that paints me, pressure of safety, pressures of promises that turn to maybes, pressure of bravely moving in the same direction. The pressure been driving me crazy. So my therapist said that these wounds that I kept were created when I was a kid. And just like that, all my thoughts raced back to a Welsh town, 96. My mother was crying, my father was screaming and shouting, denying the sin of deceiving and cheating and lying. The weeds are uprooted, the garden is dying, but still she forgives. This cycle repeats, every night I try to sleep, hearing the screams through concrete, mothering peace, a vision of love, a lesson that fused with the cells in my blood, a lesson that taught me that love ain't enough and that love can be porcelain when times get tough. Flash forward 5 years later.
Love can be porcelain when times get tough.
Screams through concrete, mothering peace, a vision of love, a lesson that fused with the cells in my blood, a lesson that taught me that love ain't enough and that love can be porcelain when times get tough. Flash forward 5 years later, sitting in the passenger seat of my dad's car with my maker. My dad looked shaken, turned to face him. The words that he spoke cutthroat like razor. He said, Ren, sometimes love can be complicated, navigating a world that we co-created. And I've made mistakes, but I will love you daily. And just like that, it's just me, my mum and my sis. The stress left mum disabled for a bit. I grew up fast then.
Whew, it's a lot, man. I mean, I guess the silver lining is that his dad said goodbye before he left. I don't know, man. It's difficult for me, right? There's some similarities that I went through and some opposites. And we're gonna go back through his verse because there's a lot of stuff production-wise that's really cool. You know, Ren. First of all, this is a deep song, like everybody told me. I've said before, Ren has a way of like painting pictures, and there's always layers to what he's talking about, but with those layers, he kind of makes it really easy and simplified in terms of being able to understand what he's talking about. There's layers to it, but it's also on the nose, which I really appreciate about Ren, because instead of having to like decipher stuff in your brain, which sometimes takes away from the emotion of it, he takes that away, right? And it's really plain and simple what he's talking about, but the stuff is still really deep. And I'm thinking about too, like he's talking about his family dynamic at home. There's a correlation here between this and power, right? In turn, the correlation and a contradiction between this and power from Ren, right? In terms of the music. So just talking about the music, for instance, right? There's a lot of similar topics being discussed in this song. His family dynamic, as I said, his mom and dad arguing. I think there was a line in Power about like hearing love dying through the wall, something like that. So it's really cool to kind of see the correlation and the similarities there. But what's interesting about Power was it kind of had like this chill, feel good vibe, right? In terms of the music, but the subject matter matches this, where it was very much quite deep. So there's that contradictory, those polarities between, the music makes you kind of want to like feel good, but really the topic or the subject matter was really like sad and deep. So this song kind of takes that to a whole new level because it's the music matches the subject matter, in my opinion. And hearing his cadence here where he's almost out of breath, right? At the end, there is sort of reminiscent to the feeling of like a panic attack, which we know he's had those a lot. But it also kind of symbolizes like all of these things happening. You know, both now and the reminiscence of it, where he's kind of having another panic attack. He's going through that trauma again, right? Feels like life's coming at you fast, all that stuff. I think that's really important. All of these things that Ren does is very, very much so important. And there's also stuff, we're going to listen to the verse again, and then I'll talk about the production side of it. But as soon as Ren's verse comes in, there's harmonizing already, right? And we have piano in the background that he loves to do behind his vocals. So you can tell that Token did his own thing, right? He did his own production. He did his own background in terms of music style. And then Ren comes in and it's him producing his part, which is really cool. I like that they're giving each other this kind of artistic freedom to do what they want on their stuff, right? So a lot of talking there, but I thought it was all important to talk about. Now let's go back to Ren's verse and listen.
Cause the cause and the fact made me hate thee. Way that I feel when the loving gets real. Cause I just wanna run and escape thee. Pressure that paints me, pressure of safety. Pressures of promises that turn to maybes. Pressure of bravely moving in the same direction. The pressure been driving me crazy. So my therapist said that these wounds that I kept were created when I was a kid. And just like that, all my thoughts raced back to a Welsh town, 96. My mother was crying, my father was screaming and shouting, denying the sin of deceiving and cheating and lying. The weeds are uprooted, the garden is dying, but still she forgives. This cycle repeats, every night I try to sleep, hearing the screams through concrete, mothering peace, a vision of love, a lesson that feels
Right, so it's pretty simple right here. We have a little synth happening in the background.
with the cells in my blood. A lesson that taught me that love ain't enough and that love can be porcelain when times get tough. Flash forward 5 years later, sitting in
Back
the
to the
passenger
piano.
seat of my dad's car with my maker. My dad looked shaken, turned to face him. The words that he spoke cut throat like razor. He said, Ren, sometimes love can be complicated, navigating a world that we co-created. And I've made mistakes, but I will love you daily. And just like that, it's just me, my mum and my sis. The stress left mum disabled for a bit. I grew up fast then, cause I gotta be a new Ren. Strong for my sister, my mum at a loose end. Confused but moving through the confusion. My born new love feels fake like what does your love look like? Does it tear your inside? Does it keep you up at night? My brother. Does it make you feel
Ooh, I like
a
that.
fist in your windpipe? Suffocate the feeling of what love's meant to feel like. Navigating
You're like a fist in your windpipe, taking the breath away. You can barely breathe.
feels fake like what does your love look like? Does it tear your inside? Does it keep you up at night? My brother. Does it make you feel like a fist in your windpipe? Suffocate the feeling of what love's meant to feel like. Navigating you, but I'm still not quite right. One night stand, make the pain stop one night. One more heart to the blade of my cold night. What does your love look like?
You realize how hard that I work and you told me you feel for me. If I lost all my motivation tomorrow, would you still love me? It's easy to love when I'm up, when I'm down and you leaving. You can't even give me an answer cause you never seen it, and that's why it's hard to believe it. If you need help but I'm too far away, is it over for you? Maybe I'm just not the person for you, even though I still could be the soul for you. Maybe we are meant to be together, but our history got in the way. Your trust issues, my fear issues, too many issues at play. You yell fast.
There's so much stuff. I want to talk about the lyrics here, but again, there's a difference in production, right? The beat's a little bit harder in terms of the drum beat. We got kind of this background vocal happening in the back. Again, different production style for each of their verses, which not only differentiates verses musically, but also, of course, their voices, right? Let's go back because, again, interesting stuff being discussed.
That I work and you told me you feel for me. If I lost all my motivation tomorrow, would you still love me? It's easy to love when I'm up, when I'm down and you leaving. You can't even give me an answer cause you never seen it, and that's why it's hard to believe it. If you need help but I'm too far away, is it over for you? Maybe I'm just not the person for you, even though I still could be the soul for you. Maybe we are meant to be together, but our history got in the way. Your trust issues, my fear issues, too many issues at play. You yell fast, I get quiet, you wanna see more passion. I've seen what real yelling can lead to, so no, I don't have it. I grew up afraid to see holes in the wall in a room that was locked from inside. I promise I'm used to it.
I see what real yelling leads to, so no, I don't have it. Whew. Yeah, man, we're going to talk about that.
I grew up afraid to see holes in the wall in a room that was locked from inside. I promise I'm used to it all. You don't gotta ever hold back and cry, but I gotta tell you why. I'm not right for you, but I'm just what I should be. You try to change me, I try to change you. We never change, do we? What does your love look like? What does your love look like? What does your love look like? What does your love look like?
All right. There's a lot of stuff here that I resonate with. A deeper level, there's a lot of stuff here that is a little similar, but not very similar. But let's go back to that line. I see what real yelling leads to, so I don't have. Actually, let's do that last. I 100% feel this guilt, I guess is the right word, of I have past traumas. We all have past traumas, but I have past traumas that makes me sometimes difficult to live with. I feel guilty that I put my wife through that sometimes, my kids through that sometimes, and I have very often, and I talk about this a lot in therapy, now that I'm back in therapy, that I feel like, and it's my own doing, that I'm not enough, that I am a burden, I'm not worthy of this sort of life that I've built, or that we've built, excuse me, that sometimes I feel like it's an imposter syndrome, but I feel like I am an imposter, and I feel like I am not this person that I am, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to make this, let's do a trauma dump for McFLy, but that's how I resonate with this, right? It's that feeling that you're a burden to somebody else that sucks, especially when it's your closest loved ones, the people you care about the most. That really, really does affect me negatively. So there's definitely a lot of that happening. There's a lot of generational trauma that's being discussed in this. And I think a lot of that stuff is important to discuss because that's kind of a fork in the road, right? You're either going to repeat and continue the generational trauma, or you're going to understand it and steer away from it. I heard something in a podcast the other day where it's like, yes, we all have trauma, and there's trauma and it does affect us. Even though some of that trauma is not our fault, most of it's not our fault, it is our responsibility, right, to work through that trauma and not put that on other people. That's heavy, man. Like, to understand that, yeah, a lot of the trauma that you've gone through is somebody else's fault, but it's now your responsibility to work through that and not put that onto other people, not let it affect other people around you, right? It's a lot of work to go through to do that, but it's 100% an important understanding. And I think that's what a lot of this song is he's working through the trauma. He's communicating with his significant other, even if it's in a letter or a song, he's communicating that, which is a good segue to what I'm about to talk about. But sometimes you have to be open about what you've gone through and how you're feeling, to then allow yourself and your significant other, your family, to allow them to help you work through it. The communication thing here, right? I see what real yelling leads to. So no, I don't have it. It was Token's line there towards the end, right? I've said this before. I have horrible communication skills with my wife, especially if there's even a semblance of an argument. And that stems from, I grew up from very young, I'm talking baby, to my teenage years, listening to my parents argue. So baby, it was my dad and my mom until I was about 4 years old. They divorced. My mom remarried, and her and my stepdad would argue a lot in front of me, right? And I'm talking yelling, pointing, screaming, all of that stuff. Obviously, right? My mom was a perpetrator for all of this. I'm not saying my stepdad or my dad were completely innocent, but my mom was a perpetrator of this, right? So I lived through all of that stuff and yelling and screaming. And anytime, specifically, my stepdad tried to stick up for himself, like he should, he got shot down, he got yelled at. There was a temper tantrum that my mom threw. You know, the first time that happened, it led to a divorce. So anytime there's an argument starting, I shut down. I basically give my wife the silent treatment in fear that if I say anything, not only am I going to get shot down or whatever, but that something drastic's going to happen, that our relationship will end. So that's a trauma. That's a built up trauma over years and years and years and years of my life, my childhood, my teenage years, my young adult years, that I have to work through, because it's not fair that I don't communicate with my wife because I went through that stuff, right? So this is stuff I'm working through in therapy. Sometimes it might be I step away and I come back. Sometimes it might be I have to write her a note. Sometimes it might be I have to text her to get it out. Whatever it is, that communication has to happen. But yeah, that trauma is a response. That is a fight, flight, or freeze response to trauma. And a couple other reactors have talked about this before. Like I know Cliff Beats, for instance, is one of those. I think that he's mentioned that sometimes he freezes in arguments because of past. So it's a common thing, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating, any less of a big deal, right? There's another line. He said something about you don't ever have to hold back a cry. This is something that all of us should, but I preach to my kids often. You know, my daughter tries to hold back her tears because she thinks, I don't know if we're going to get mad at her or what, but she tries very hard to be strong and hold her tears back. And, the other day, in fact, I had to tell her, like, do not, if you feel something, it's okay to feel that. You can feel it, then it's easier to talk about it. Like, if you need to cry, Aubrey, cry, feel that feel, right? Something I preach to my kids, but it's something I don't follow myself. It's really easy to, and especially for an empath, to tell somebody else to do the right thing, but it's very hard for me to follow it because, one, I don't feel I deserve it, and two, I feel like it's much more difficult to do than it is to tell somebody else to do, right? But yeah, there's so much that we could talk about from this song. I do want to say I love Token's flow. I think his writing skills on this is great. To be able to tell a story that flows from verse to verse, keeping the rhyme scheme and all of that stuff, right? There's no crazy rhyme scheme. There's not any speed, speed rapping or anything like that, which I've mentioned before is totally fine. You don't have to have any of that. Some artists will have everything, right? They'll have the deep lyrics that mean something with the speed rapping and the total change in flow, right? That's great. That's awesome. Sometimes the message is what's important, and getting it across is just rapping it simply, telling the story and all that. So I love that. Love Token. So far from what I've heard, I want to get more into his album. Everyone's saying I should listen to the album too. So I might do one of my first album reviews on this, to be honest. And then I'll do Sleep Token because y'all voted for Sleep Token. Ren, obviously, even in the supporting role, I feel like at the very least, he goes toe to toe with the artist, right? He's been on a couple features, and I think he holds his own on each time. Love that he plays the acoustic backing track. I love that he had I can tell he had a say in the production, and it looks like him and Token, at least in the video, kind of fed off of each other's traumas and were kind of supportive for each other. You can tell by the lyrics, you can tell by how they were looking at each other in the video, like it meant something to them to be the support for each other, right? And I think that's something that's missing in art. It's like fighting over who's going to be more popular and who had the best verse, right? Like, who cares? Y'all did your own thing. Y'all were there to support each other, and that's what matters. I think this could spark a long conversation. I mean, this entire video is probably like 30 minutes. It usually is with a Ren song, especially when it's deep. But I'm glad that there's more of these collabs. I'm glad that there's more artists willing to communicate their traumas, their issues. I'm glad that there's artists talking about all this stuff. I think there's more and more of them that are doing it. I think that as I've gotten older, I less and less care about the type of music and more care about the message. So there's a lot of stuff I listen to on this channel that I really love that I wouldn't have listened to otherwise, just because I didn't have the experience of life. I didn't have the understanding of strife and struggle that I do now. So it means more to me now, right? So yeah, man, really, really cool. Again, go to Token's YouTube channel. I think it's Token Hip Hop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I've done all that. Ren commented. I'm looking at a bunch of stuff. So really, really fun to listen to. I appreciate the love and support, you guys. Thank y'all so much. Expect Ren's Tail song coming up pretty quickly here, right after this. So appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all so much. And please do remember that good vibes are contagious.